can't get rid of me. Try to kill me and I'll pop back up in a tree. I'll drop thousands of revolutionary leaves, embody the wind and blow them from Minneapolis to the northwestern region of the Red Sea. I'll flood your tanks with water from the infamous Happy. I am way too fast. Your red laser can't knock me. Shockproof. Freddie Gray, your vans can't rock me. Sandra Bland's mugshot can't crop me. Philando Castile, race orders can't stop me. Corner store, Eric Gardner can't drop me. Said, my energy is like Malcolm's. You can't top me. Hi, my name is Jibreel Khumas, and I'm a poet from Minneapolis. So I used to do classical dance all throughout high school, and then I actually went off to college and did some dance in New York City at the Ailey School. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a big school in Manhattan. So I did things like ballet, Graham, Horton, Dunham, all of that good stuff. I've always been into poetry, but I actually hurt myself when I was in New York, so I had to kind of stop dancing. So that's when I kind of made that transition. I actually was experiencing a lot of traumatic things. My cousin was murdered, and I wrote a poem for his funeral, and I read it at his funeral, and I just received so much positivity, and they just received it so well, the people who were at the service, and ever since then I've been doing poetry very heavily. Poetry is everything. It's literally, it comes out of every limber, every fiber of my body, every limb. When I see a bus go by, I can come up with a stanza, or if I see a bee, I literally write something. So it's literally, it's in every part of my day, every part of my life. Over time, poetry has been very important. When you think about people like Amiri Baraka or Leroy Jones, Nina Simone, Maya Angelou, they literally shaped poetry. You know, they shaped the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, and they were very influential to all of the struggles that's happening in this country, you know, against African American people. So I think that poetry is valued to uplift not only Black people, but people in general in this country. So I think that it's very valued in America and all across the world for that matter. Past experiences, things that's happened to me in the workplace, things that's happened to me walking down the street when I used to take the bus, going to interviews and just experiencing different things. But another huge thing that inspires me is all of the executions of African American men in this country. So Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Freddie Gray, Chad Robertson, all of those executions, every time I see something like that, it literally it disrupts my soul, and it just gives me so much inspiration to write something, to share my experience and how it makes me feel. And I think a lot of people can't really talk about those experiences because they can't find the words to formulate, you know, what they're actually feeling. So I take it upon myself to write a poem to kind of give people, you know, a way to grieve. And a lot of people can't really express either because we feel trapped, you know. If you're in the workplace, it's unprofessional. If you're even at school, you can't talk about those things because it's policies, procedures. But what I like to do is to break those policies down, to break those procedures down, go away from the status quo and say, hey, this is what I have experienced and this is what we're gonna talk about. When I first started performing, I would say people are a little uncomfortable of what I'm talking about. But then as people got to know me, and then as I started to perform more often, they got a little more comfortable because they understood that I was coming from a place of love. And at the end of the day, everything that I spit, everything that I say out of my mouth, it's all truth. I'm telling a story. These words are coming to me, you know, through ancestors, and I'm literally just being a vessel. So I had to realize if they're uncomfortable, you know, they're gonna have to get over it. And then I didn't take it personally, you know, after a while, because I realized that this is not me talking, it's not me doing this. This all is coming to me, and I'm just regurgitating everything that's been placed inside of me. Favorite places to perform is Day Block Viewing Company. We're actually here now. It's a cool space, downtown Washington and 11th. There's always shows, every weekend they have a really nice selection of wines and beers. It's just a really cool environment, very welcoming for artists. My very first showcase, and I was when I first was gonna do it, I was a little skeptical because I didn't know how it was gonna be received, but then I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. We need something like this, and let's just see how it goes. So it was like a fusion of a lot of different things: poetry, music, dance, and we did it in South Minneapolis at Intermedia Arts. And it was just an amazing experience. So I was really telling a story about the feeling, that Black people have in America. We started off, with a couple of songs from Nina Simone, Feeling Good, and then we pretty much ended with Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, Strange Fruit. So the showcase was about telling a story about the Black experience in Minneapolis and Minnesota and the United States of America, but really worldwide. And we had some local poets, singers, just really telling their story. But that came about because there was a void of Black, performance, a void of Black celebration, a void of Black joy, and just brought a whole bunch of people together and just really, we all collectively had a good time and networked and just loved each other. Well, I'm definitely gonna continue to do poetry series, like 5, 6 poems, 10, 20 poems, something to keep people captivated and to keep reeling those people in, because I don't do poetry for myself. None of this is about me, it's really for the people, There's a lot of Black voices that are not heard, and I think that I have, everything inside of me to bring and uplift those voices. So I'm going to continue to do series. I'm actually working on an album right now that's going to be a fusion of poetry and music, and it's really going to celebrate Black culture. It's going to talk about Black joy, Black excellence, all of that good stuff. I'm actually recording a song now called Dressed in Blue, which is a song that's dedicated to my brother. So that's the most recent thing that I'm working on, and I'm finishing up a poetry series now called Poems About Love, Poems About Life, and it was a 6-poem series. So 3 poems were about love and 3 poems were about life. And it was very different for me because my poetry it's more about the Black experience, but the first 3 poems that were part of the series were about love, and I think that people really appreciated that because they've seen a different side of me. It was really a personal, experience. They got to know a little bit more. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I use Instagram a lot more. It's just my first and last name, so my handle is Jibreel Khumas. Same thing on Facebook. And I actually have a song it's on Tidal, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. It's called Heal the Hood. And that song can be downloaded or purchased, streamed too.
Hey, drove around town and all the people with frowns are brown. Walking the streets seeing their brothers get smacked down. Out in the heat and if they meet then it's